But this is where you want to be for the podcast that connects life, pickleball, and truly love. What's up, Pickleball Nation? This is Tanner Vann and Elizabeth Roy coming to you from Denver, Colorado with the Play Hard Pickleball Podcast. Episode 1E is Ground Zero. It's Ground Zero for the podcast. It's Ground Zero for you and me and getting our stories out to the people. And I'm pretty excited about it. How you feeling?
I'm pretty excited too, actually.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So, you know what? The Ground Zero question of the day, though, is Elizabeth Roy. A little bit of a dark horse in the Denver pickleball scene.
Dark horse? What does that mean?
Dark horse. That's you. Just not super well known quite yet.
Oh, okay.
But walk me through it. You know, what inspired the pickleball kickoff, the start? How did you get into the game? How'd you find it?
Well, Pat, my husband, and I were visiting my Uncle Skip in Florida. My granduncle, actually. And we're just thinking, what are we going to do for activity while we're down there? Pat works out. I paddleboard all the time. We were just like to keep moving. And so we were suggested to go join him for pickleball.
Join Uncle Skip for pickleball. How old is Skip?
In his 70s.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that's a pretty common age range.
Yeah, for sure. So, I had never heard of pickleball before, never even heard the word pickleball, so I had no idea what to expect. And we get down there, and he goes and plays every day, and he's got his crew at his local court, and so he took us along for that.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what always happens is, hey, I'm going to go play pickleball, and somebody gets dragged along, and then that's how you find it. What part of Florida was it?
Destin, Florida. So it's on the Gulf Coast.
Okay. Yeah. My geography is either really bad or I can't think of what the Gulf Coast is.
Shares the water with Texas. So it's like on the Panhandle. Or near the Panhandle.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds like the white sand beaches of Florida.
Yes, exactly.
Nice.
And honestly, from what I could tell, there's a lot of people that play pickleball, but it's definitely not like the Florida hot spots.
Okay, that far, what would that be, southwest?
Northwest.
Okay, so it's not like super popular in Destin?
There's a lot of people that play it, but it's not, we were there, and we went back last August. So this was all 2 summers ago. So this August...
recent. I don't know why I was thinking you had played for 4 years.
No.
Never mind.
Yeah. 2 years this August. So we went back last August to visit, and I was so excited to go and play with Uncle Skip's friends. Because when we went, they were showing us the ropes and teaching us. And, one of his friends was like, get to the line. You have to get up to the line. And, so they sent me to go to the ladies' court. Of course, Pat picked it up instantly, so everybody was cool with him. But
the ladies' court, you know what? For those that don't know, I mean, we're definitely going to be doing an episode on that. I don't love that, but I mean, did you have to separate out of Pat and whoever else wanted to play with him?
Yeah, they were like, go play. Why don't you go play a ladies' game and we'll play a guys' game and. Yeah. Well,
I mean, that's got to be borderline insulting, right? Or not so much because you were learning.
There was a little bit of both. So I was insulted and offended, but I also knew that clearly these guys play every day. They have a better, they know what they're doing. And so just as somebody that's a beginner, they played a few games with me, taught me some things, and I appreciated that. So I was okay with letting them, anytime I'm playing with a group of people that are obviously clearly better than me, it's, I always take my time and thank them for the game, but then, I don't mind stepping off.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. More of that know your role kind of thing when you're learning.
The thing that was most annoying was that Pat was so good at it and that they were okay with him playing. So that was more annoying than them being like, well, listen, we want to play a competitive game.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, we want to play a competitive game and I'll take Pat.
Okay, I gotcha. I mean, so did you pick it up quickly or was it a pretty steep learning curve?
Well, I'd never done any racket sports before. So
Wait, what do you come from if not racket?
Well, I did play softball, but
Okay.
the majority is dance. So I did.
Ooh, light on your feet, little footwork, Okay.
Yeah. I look a little too graceful sometimes on the pickleball court. I need to get some more like athlete to me.
Okay, so you learned that pretty pickleball style.
Oh, if only. If only what I do is pretty on the pickleball court.
Yeah, I think we all wish we could do that though.
Yeah. Well, we all know you play pretty pickleball.
I have my moments, but I mean, so it was hard to pick up then, not coming from something that you were used to swinging and hitting.
Yeah, I'll save some of this for another podcast episode, but things like overheads, drives, those are like the two lob retrievals, lobs, stuff like that very clearly anybody with a tennis background just has an advantage. I still cannot hit a real overhead, and it's embarrassing. You've seen it. It's getting there.
I'm not going to tell you it's the greatest shot in your arsenal, but I'm not going to say it's the worst thing about your game. So
you laughed at me. You were I'm like, that was good, and you laughed because you couldn't believe it. And I said, just if only you.
That's accurate. I did do that. I 100% remember that. I was going to try and save face right there. No, I did laugh at you.
There you go.
But that's all right. We're working at it. But
I was so proud because I actually hit it inside the court. Actually,
it was inside the lines. I mean, that's goal number one
Step
for those
one.
overheads. But if you had to go back to Destin to that day one that you had played, I mean, was there a spark for a day two? Did you want to get back out there and go play again, or were you like, no, this was weird?
Yeah, I was crushed, like physically, because I was using muscles that I've never used before. So I was pretty tired, and Pat and Skip were going to go out the next morning, and I was laying in bed, and they're like, hey, we're going to the pickleball court. Are you coming? And I'm like, no, I am really sore. And then I'm like laying there half asleep, and I just like hear the sound of the ball hitting the paddle, which I have a theory that that's actually why we get addicted to it. But,
oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the addictive part about the sound?
I think it's like a dog clicker. When you teach a dog like how to do a trick and you click it, it's just like a dopamine hit. And
okay, all right.
It kind of sounds like a metronome if you're volleying back and forth.
Yeah, that's steady rhythm where you can hear it and it settles into you.
Yeah.
A little bit. I think all players kind of know what you mean by that.
Yeah.
The steadiness of the rhythm and how good it feels.
Yeah, it's like almost meditative. But I digress. I do think that like the sound is the thing that got me out of bed that day. I just heard it, paddles hitting the ball, and like instantly I just was like, all right, wait for me, I'm coming. And I jumped out of bed and ran downstairs.
Oh, don't you dare lie. We both, if you were hurting that much, you didn't jump out of bed. You rolled and then crawled your way to the courts.
That's maybe, it's somewhere in between. So I enthusiastically rolled out of bed.
Nice. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. But I mean, I love that because I mean, that's you had mentioned the dopamine hit. I mean, that's the excitement about I played once, I want to go play again.
Yeah.
I mean, did you want to stop at all that first day, or was it just you wanted to just play all day and then the sun went down, they had no lights, and all of a sudden you were just like, we need to go home. We need to eat.
Yeah. We did a few hours and I was like pouring sweat. Pat made like butt prints on the he made butt prints on the picnic table because he was so sweaty.
That's so gross.
Yeah. And these guys in Florida have this setup. So my uncle and his friends, they have like personal fans, like when you get at Home Depot, and they put it down in front of them and just like blow it on their face, and then they rotate out. And
personal fan, that is the most. I don't even know what to say to that. Other than genius and genius. Or spoiled.
They have a whole operation. They're pros. And pros, by pro I mean
pro at being able to play through any element.
Yes.
I got you. Well, that's that. Oh man, I wish I could go back.
You were in Gunnison, right?
Oh yeah, that was when I had moved from Chicago to Colorado.
You're from Chicago?
I am from
Why
Chicago.
did I not know that?
I'm not really sure. Could you not tell from just the general air of confidence and wanting the spotlight all the time?
I don't know.
Well, I appreciate that, because sometimes people think Chicagoans are a little like New Yorkers, a little too blunt and to the point. Yeah. But I learned in Gunnison, and for all places to learn a game called pickleball, I would not have thought Gunnison, and I definitely didn't think pickleball was going to be part of my life then. But I learned at Western State Colorado University. I believe it's been renamed now, but it was known as WSCU, or Wasted State for those that went there.
Wasted State like partying, or like
Wasted
sucks?
State like partying. And also because it's a fishbowl kind of college. It's a very small area. It's a beautiful place. I mean, goodness me, if you want to be outside all the time, go to Gunnison. But I learned down there, and the story itself is actually a little funny. Western State has a field house, and in the field house, is covered, and it's a gym floor and everything else, but it's not the wood gym floor. It's this gray, bouncy, you can fall on it and it's not really going to hurt you, so it's perfect for the geriatrics who play pickleball. But
Wait, how does the ball bounce on a surface like that?
So it's an indoor jugs ball. It's the super soft one. So you're not playing indoors with a Dura, a Fast 40, or a Franklin X or anything like that. So it bounced fine. But again, you're learning. You don't really notice the bounce of the ball.
Right.
So I had I had gone to work out that day, and I had stayed up way too late the night before playing Call of Duty, drinking Mountain Dew with the fellas. And
are you sure you weren't studying?
Yeah, yep. Studying. I mean, that's what I went to college for, because, yeah. And so I had gone to work out that early because that was the only part of college that I was diligent about. About 6 a.m., I roll into the gym, and I've got my headphones on. Well, they die because, lo and behold,
when you're
19
like
years
night,
old. Yeah, you're not thinking about charging your headphones. Yeah. So they die, and I take them off. And I'm walking in through the doors, and I hear this soft little plunk. And for some reason, from the echo and whatever else, I kind of figured it was a water leak. And I was like, oh, good, it's raining again. But no, I kept hearing it, and it was methodical. It was rhythmic. And I kind of did my gym warm up, and then I went for my running warm up. And in our field house, the basketball courts where the pickleball players played were in the middle, and the track ran around the outside. So they put the curtains down so all the balls weren't rolling everywhere from the pickleball courts. But I was running, and I didn't have my headphones in, so I could hear this sound, this little thud, plunk, however you want to say it, annoying. And it was, first lap, I was fine. Second lap, I was getting mad. Third lap, furious. So I stick my head in through the curtain. Yeah, it surprises everyone. But I stick my head in through the curtain, and I say some very mean, colorful things, and I see this just spread of old people. It didn't occur to me to think of community or anything else. I just saw a spread of old hitting this ball with a big ping pong paddle. Spread of old, exactly. And they're all just hitting this ball back and forth. I stick my head in and say, can you guys knock this bleep it out word off? It's nonsense. I'm in college. This is my field house. You guys need to knock it off. I want to run. I want peace and quiet. And they were
oh my God,
so
I'm just
nice.
So not surprised.
Exactly. But they were so nice. And you know what? I admit it. I was a jerk. I was a wad about it. And I realized it when I left that day. My mother, Diana Vann, we love her, raised me to not be mean or rude or just a jag off. So I went back a week later. It took me about a week to cool down and really think about my error. And I went back a week later and I poked my head in and I said, hey, I'm the guy from last week. And a little old lady, bless her heart, Diane Robertson, remembered who I was just by how I looked and probably sounded. And she said, you were the guy from last week. And I said, yes, ma'am, I was. And she goes, you were pretty unhappy with us. And I said, yes, ma'am, I was. And I apologize for that. And I'd like to apologize to everybody that heard me. And you know, I tried to do the right thing. She just welcomed me with open arms and said, would you like to learn? And I said, Diane, I'd love to. You know, just trying to rebuild the broken relationship. And I walked in, and that is the start of history right there. I picked up a paddle. I loved it. I was not good at it when I started. I was horrible at it. No, oh, terrible. I mean, I come from a heavy baseball background, so I was wailing the ball at these old people. If it went in, it was insane. It was such a good shot. I was like, oh, I can replicate that. And then I would hit it over the curtain that was 40 feet tall. So I had no control. I was awful. It was terrible. But she was so sweet, and her husband, Dave Robertson, and Diane Robertson, they took me in, they took me under their wing, and they showed me the ropes. They taught me how to play correctly. They gave me my first Paddle Tech paddle. And I constantly owe them all the gratitude in the world for putting me on a path where now I play professional pickleball. It's insanity. And you know what? That's my origin. That's my parents were killed in Gotham City and I became Batman. Like, that's my origin of pickleball. Yeah. Is Dave and Diane just brought me in and welcomed me into this community after I was such a jerk. So
that sounds about right for pickleball people.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the people, and they are the nicest bunch. They are the nicest group of people. And
it's so easy to find a home.
It so is. So is. And I mean, I'm sure when you played down in Destin and learned the game, everyone was so welcoming. They just wanted you there.
Oh, yeah. And when we went back to visit again, they were all excited to get to play with us.
Yes.
And you got to play with Uncle Skip, actually, when he
yeah. Skip was a baller.
Yeah.
Skip was out here crushing shots, and then he got a little tired because, you know, altitude's a real thing in Colorado. But that's funny you mentioned that community piece, because that's what happens now. I fell off a little bit during COVID, but before COVID, I would go back to Gunnison for one or at least 2 trips a year, where I went back to literally see Dave and Diane.
Aw,
and you know
nice.
what? I've run into them at a couple tournaments, Colorado Springs, one at Apex.
The name sounds really familiar.
Yeah, I mean they're big pickleball staples on the western slope, Gunnison, Buena Vista, kind of that direction. But they're the nicest people, and they gave me that start. They gave me the love and the passion for the game, and that's super special. And I'll never trade it, because I try and go back and see them and play with them. And you know, when we do eventually lose them, it's gonna be a huge blow to the Gunnison pickleball scene. So, you know, best wishes to them. They're still out there. And I'm gonna have to get him a copy of this, and you know what, I'd love to run into him again. That's you never forget the person that taught you. You never will.
That's awesome, and so glad to hear that you make trips to connect with them. That's really cool.
And I mean, you know, not being family members kind of puts a little bit of a distance between you as you know, them as a married couple, me as an individual, you know, versus like you and Pat and Skip, who are all technically related. So a little bit of a difference, but
you're not going on like family vacations.
Exactly.
But,
no, I'm not doing that, but
that's good. That's great that you have the connection. So what do they say? Like, whenever you go back, are they just impressed? Like, what do they have as a response to what you've done with pickleball?
So the last time I saw them, they were really, honestly, they didn't care much about the fact that I had just played, the Tournament of Champions, and I had lost to Ben Johns and Jesse Irvin.
Yeah.
They didn't care. They'd know the names. They had certainly seen that on YouTube, and this was just when the PPA was starting. So, they knew about it, and they were very impressed. They were like, I can't believe we knew you here, and now we know you here. But they really just wanted to be a part of the game that I was playing. And they're on the older side, so they're not moving real well, and the rallies are shorter. But I mean, they just want to play. And you know what? If you've got talent, they get a huge kick out of you doing the most basic trick shot, a small tweener for a dink right in front of Dave or something. He loved it. He just wanted to be a part of it, and that is something special. He didn't care that he was on the court with a pro or something like that. He just loves the game. And you know what? If somebody was out there to give him a little bit of a different look on the court, they loved it. Dave loved it. Diane loved it. I bet they'll have that ability until the end of time.
Nice. So you mentioned playing Ben Johns and Jesse Irvin. I don't think I've heard... maybe
we're
subject.
Definitely not going to talk about it.
Okay. Well, you've played in some pro tournaments. Like, what was your first experience doing like a big deal thing?
Ooh. The first experience doing a big deal thing is I played a pro singles tournament, or I played pro singles in a tournament down in Arizona. And wasn't super familiar with the game at this point. This was maybe 2018. And I thought I was good enough, and I was athletic enough. I didn't have a good backhand, and anyone that played with me back then knew I didn't have a backhand. But I was way fast enough to get around my forehand. So I played pro singles and did win, won the tournament. And it wasn't a a huge thing or anything like that, but I thought that kind of allowed me, I can go play pro, this kind of confidence. Didn't realize that the best player in the bracket was maybe a low 4 or 5 at the time, and there were no pro players in it. Well, I was young and didn't realize how the game worked.
Right.
So I entered this pro division, won it, and then proceeded to play a pro event in the next couple of months and I'm crushed, and I'm not talking losing. I'm talking getting bageled and just literally serve return blown off the court because I didn't have these skills. Well, that lit a fire in me, and I was like, man, I definitely think I can hang with these guys. And so I started working at it, and thanks to Scott Williams from Erie, Colorado, he put the work in with my backhand. He gave me about 3 weeks, said, you're not going to touch a forehand, you're not going to play, you're going to sit here and hit all backhands. And I learned a backhand, and now if you play with me, my backhand's a little on the nasty, deceptive side, and that's owed to that. So I mean, I've had some fun with tournaments, but my first pro event was not real, and I thought it readied me for it, and it did not. But
sometimes you need those humbling experiences too.
Oh yeah, I got that one. That was brutal, but I learned, and you know what, fell even more in love with the game with learning it and everything else. So I mean, I'm sure that my tournament experience, my first bad one, is not the only one in the room. So hit me with the deets. What after learning the game with Skip down in Destin and Pat, do you remember the first tournament you played in?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, what was it?
Well, it was Dan and I, so my mixed partner that I've just had from the beginning.
Wait,
and
Colorado, Florida?
Yep, Colorado.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so we entered, I think it might have been the Dinkin Rally. I can't remember. It was a Cornerstone tournament. I'm pretty sure it was the Dinkin Rally.
Okay, yeah.
Last year.
Yep.
So
early spring tournament?
Yeah. So Dan and I experimented with stacking. Like we both were at the point where we're serious about this. We're going to win.
Yep.
And we entered 3-5 and stacked. And it was like our first time playing competitively with stacking, and the weeks leading up, Dan and I were just like, just performing really well stacking in our rec games.
Sure.
And I was like, it's really hard to beat us if we're stacking. Like, I said that to Pat at one point. And, you know, of course.
It's a bold statement. It is.
But, you know, I definitely meant, like, in perspective. Any of my main crew, like, if we stacked against them, we had a really good shot, even if it was 2 guys. But
yeah.
So anyway, we go to the Stake and Rally tournament, and we're playing, and we lose the first game, and it was bad. It was, like, rough. We definitely took timeouts. And
Rough play, or, I mean, for you guys, or did you just get smoked? I mean, did they just hammer you? Because you were used to that recreational piece versus a competitive piece.
We didn't get destroyed, but we got, like... I mean, I can only really speak for myself, but we got
Dan, we're putting words in your mouth.
It was kind of a wake-up call. I thought that we were going to win. I was, like, sure that we were going to win.
Yeah. And
then, you know, they were exploiting us on the stack, but we also really didn't know how to do it, and no one we were playing against knew how to, like, deal with a stacking team either. So
we call that false confidence.
Yeah, definitely had a lot of that. And but yeah, so then we won like the next one and then lost, and it was also windy. So like the one that knocked us out, I just remember also we played in the wind but didn't really understand what the difference was at that time. And you know
how the ball would travel and fly and move?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mostly just if you're going for like a shot that should be an easy put away or something, and then you're taking it as a volley. Yeah. How there's just like that little minute change that just knocks it off the sweet spot or like holds it back so your timing's off. And that God, we hit so many into the net in that last match, and I know I was like tilted, and I'm pretty sure Dan felt the same way. But so anyway, we came out with a pretty humbling experience, but I did win my first women's event with Lindsay. That weekend, and actually I had won with her the day before, so I was extra confident.
Wait, won what? Like
3-5 women's.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I was like, "You're going in with the gold medalist."
Yeah,
Dan.
I don't think I knew you then.
No, we didn't.
I don't think I knew you.
No, our paths crossed at Lifetime, really.
Yeah, and I mean, what was that, 6 months ago, give or take?
Yeah. Middle of the winter.
Yeah, that was about 6 months ago, and
it was like my first great experience with you, because I had a couple interactions with you.
You might as well tell the people what your first interaction was with me.
Well, there were a couple like little ones, and
the little ones, they're the worst.
Oh well, yeah, because they're like a snap second,
like snap judgment. That's what you're going for.
Yeah. So the biggest, like, all the little small kind of run-ins that I didn't really talk to you, but, you know, observed you or whatever, those are not that important. But at the Gates Top Dog tournament, do you remember you played Dalton and Josh with Robert?
Yeah, and we were screwing off. We were screwing around.
Yeah, so you walked in with your, like, headphones in and this, like, look on your face, like, I just thought... That
sounds right.
Oh, my God, who's this guy? I don't know what was going on in, like, your head at the time, but I felt like you didn't think you had to try, and then
sure. Like, totally thought I didn't. And you know what? Robert and I turned it on way too late. It was a problem. Yeah. We were down 7 or 8. And
I remember the moment.
And I remember looking at Robert and being like, "Dude, we gotta stop screwing around. I'm gonna stop hitting tweeners. I'm gonna stop going for the around the back volley. Just stuff for the people. You know, I'm interacting with the crowd. I'm pretty sure I walked over and took a sip of somebody's drink at one point. Like, and I just didn't think that, you know, that was something I had to try. And you know what? Another humbling moment for me. But wound up losing that. Got second in it. That's a funny memory that you have. I'm glad they weren't all bad.
No, I mean, you redeemed yourself at Lifetime. Once you get to know him, he's not all bad.
Thanks. Right there, caught on camera. Not all bad. Just he's
you heard
90
it here first. He's not all bad.
You heard it here first. He's 95% a jerk and 5% good. No, but you know what? Just coming back all the way back to the original 30 seconds of the video, the ground zero piece. This idea, this podcast was built at the Lifetime in Centennial, where when I got to talk to you, when I got to really sit down and speak to you, even though we talked about pickleball, I got that inside look at you of she's smart, she's savvy, she knows what she really wants to do. So I got to know about your job and then what some of your aspirations and goals were, and that kind of clued me in because the coaching business that I have in Denver for pickleball is pretty popular, and you just talked to me about it a lot and said, hey, I heard of you from word of mouth. I'd like to work with you once or twice, and our relationship started that way. But as I got to talk to you, I saw so much more. So I remember, I'm not sure who brought it up. I don't know if it was me bringing up the idea of a business or if it was you, but we put our heads together. I remember that. As soon as whoever broached the topic, the surface of that potential business, joint partnership, I remember I floated it and I just said all in because I know that you're going to try, you're going to be a huge pushing piece for the business part of the Play Hard Pickleball podcast and Play Hard Pickleball as a whole. So, I love that about you and the fact that you went gung-ho on it and we were able to build a baller studio and we're able to churn out podcasts and film content and stuff like that. It was a huge, super fun part for me to find somebody that had the same passion and same drive as me for the game. Yeah. That was exciting for me.
Definitely. I think I had mentioned to you that I really wanted pickleball to just be, it already consumes a lot of my time and mental space and emotional energy. I'm really dedicated to the game and I play every day. And You saw me at Lifetime.
Oh my
gosh. Every day.
I thought I worked long hours, or not worked, but I was there a lot. And I mean, she was there before me, she was there after me somehow. And I was like, does this woman sleep? Does she do anything? Does she do anything but pickleball? And that was before I really got to know you.
Yeah.
But I do remember thinking that and just being like, good grief, I thought I had an addiction.
Yeah.
That was new.
Yeah, I think I told you that I really wanted to do a pickleball business. And then, but I had no idea, what I really wanted to do. I wanted to host events. I want to, put on tournaments and do fun things. And you brought up some thoughts of how we could collaborate in that. And honestly, Tanner gave me the drive and inspiration to do it. And I admired you and that you've built a business and you really are very good at what you do. And I was impressed
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. The tips that you gave me and, hopefully we got to do another session soon. But,
yeah, we do.
Yeah. So I really, you inspired me to just set it in motion too. So go team.
You literally, go. I feel like we should high five.
I know, I was wanting to.
I feel like we should high five.
Go team.
Yeah, go team. But as we kind of near the end of the Ground Zero podcast, where you guys get a little bit of background on me, a little bit of background on Elizabeth, and kind of what we're looking to do. The Play Hard piece of the podcast and the business that we're going to be launching pretty soon here, what is the driving reason behind that name? Because that's not me. I operate under Tanner Vann Pickleball, and upgrade your game is the mantra that I use. Mm-hmm. But you came up with Play Hard Pickleball, and you were set on it the first time, and I loved it. I was all for it. I was like, hey, let me be a part of that. Let me jump in on that. But where did that come from?
Yeah, it was always going to be Play Hard. And before I found pickleball, I had plans to do use that name for other things, and it's all related to playing in your life, like
playing hard in your everyday life,
yeah,
like
just
borderline that song by what, Wiz Khalifa, Work Hard, Play Hard.
I'm not that hip.
Ah, okay. Well, I am. So he's got a song called "Work Hard, Play Hard."
Maybe we'll have to use that on the outro.
Ooh,
but
we will.
So yeah. Anyway, like growing up, my family really did, especially my dad, who passed away when I was 19. He definitely made it a point in his life to make sure to always like go out and play. He was avid with snowmobiling and golfing, and he'd often skip work to do these things.
Absolute legend.
Yeah, and I remember, people would say, like, you have to be responsible and not do that so much, like, go to work. And then when he passed away at 45, I was like, I'm really glad that my dad skipped work to go golfing, because, that's what it's all about. So, anyway, just that kind of way of living really stuck with me, and
yeah,
I feel like I do play hard at anything that I do.
Yes.
I'm
oh
all in.
My goodness, do you ever?
What can I say?
Yeah. So no, I mean, I love that, and that's huge. And you know what? We're gonna throw it out to Jeff and say, you know what? Even though you're not here, we appreciate it. The play hard piece definitely comes from you, and I hope to be able to channel that in our future episodes and future pieces that we do. But
yeah, don't take yourself so seriously. Like,
oh, I love that.
You just gotta play, because when you get older and you become an adult, you don't really do that anymore, and
the cool ones do.
The cool ones do, for sure. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that play hard piece, I love that. And you know what, as the final kicker here, I really just wanna tell everybody, the play hard podcast piece, the ground zero part. I really want to bring that in, because our goal for this podcast is not to bring you the latest updates on delaminated paddles and the PPA trends and pros and what they like. We'll definitely discuss some of that now and then, but really the goal of this podcast is to bring to life the connection between yourself, your life, your love, your passion, and the game itself. So if we go all the way back to Destin, right? And you learning the game of pickleball, you weren't good at it to start with. But you know what? When you started the job that you have now, your 9 to 5, you weren't good at that either. Mm-hmm. So what pushed you to get good at that? What is pushing you to get good at pickleball? Because both of those things, they meet in the middle.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I mean, pickleball is life. We all kind of know that on some level or another. I mean, really, you can equate everything from confidence, insecurity, your mental state, like how you deal with pressure.
Yeah, mental strength, mental dexterity even.
Yeah, how you grow. Like, there's so many parallels that I think that'll be the most fun, just to kind of take a look at how they compare.
This is going to be an exciting journey for the two of us. We're definitely hoping that you join us. You're looking for the Play Hard Pickleball Podcast on YouTube. I believe we're going to put it on Spotify as well, and a couple other platforms, and we'll keep updating you at the end of each podcast. But you know what? This is where you want to be for the podcast that connects life, pickleball, and truly love. Because, I mean, you love the game. I love the game. We both have a passion for it. And you know what? The third final piece is we both play pickleball. And you know what? We do it at different levels, but we do it together. We do it in the same communities, and we love it. So stay tuned for it. We're going to have a lot of fun, a lot of cool things coming your way. The Play Hard Pickleball Podcast from Tanner Vann and Elizabeth Roy. Well done.